Hello everybody, welcome to Music Talk. I am your host, Jay Nabe. I am a Kansas City rapper, Kansas City, Missouri. We're that city in the Midwest. So you got the East Coast, the West Coast, and the Midwest. So yeah, I'm starting this series just to talk about music. It's kind of more for me just to talk to the camera and stuff and post it, I guess. But yeah, if you get any value from this video, make sure to like and subscribe. So yeah, I just wanted to talk about, I guess, we can talk about what it's like to be a musician, I guess. I feel like the number one thing is, like, before you even get into, like, the quote-unquote music industry, get your mental health sorted out first. I think that's the biggest thing, because, like, when you become a musician, or especially an artist, you're in front of people a lot. So you have to make sure you can take, like, the criticism, or, like, especially the constructive criticism, and make sure, like, you can keep calm when you're in a lot of different situations. I feel like that's a big thing. So I would definitely work on your mental health. Even if that means, like, trying to, like, pick up on meditation or, like, what works for you. But, like, something that works well for your mental health outside of the music. Because if some days the music just isn't working out for you, you need a different outlet besides the music. So that's a tip I would do on that front. But yeah, in terms of working on music, I don't know. It just seems like some days the creativity is there and some days it isn't. But most of the time it usually comes down, for me at least, when it comes down to the beats. Like, if I can catch, like, the melody or, like, the hook part of the beat, I can usually write to it pretty quick. But yeah, it's usually, like, the vibes. It's all about the vibes, obviously. But yeah, I mean, like, I feel like especially when you're starting out as an artist, or a rapper specifically, because that's what I'm more familiar with, you definitely need to try to collaborate with people who are, like, in your realm. If that makes sense in terms of popularity. Like, just looking at Spotify monthly listeners, if you're starting out, like, it might be hard to get anybody to collaborate with you, but if, like, you have a local studio, maybe try to get in with the local studio there, like, get some studio time just to network a little bit, and then hopefully you can connect with the artists that they have there. Let me raise my chair a little bit. There, and then just be able to talk to some of the local artists just to, like, pick their brains about music business, or just understanding how they go about their craft and learning from them. And I would definitely try to reach out to anybody you know that might be in music who might be willing to help you, because that's kind of how I got my start. I started as a voice actor. I tried to break into voice acting, which kind of worked for me but kind of didn't. But it made me familiar with, like, microphones, different kind of microphones, like condenser microphones, cardioid microphones, and things like that, and how to record myself. I think that was a big thing. And I learned a little bit about acoustics, but I didn't understand it too well. And that's how I got my start recording. So I was doing, like, these weird voices in, like, a little closet, and I was thinking, like, oh yeah, I'm gonna be, like, I think it was like, I'm gonna be the next Mel Blanc, and I'm gonna do all these. I'm pretty sure Mel Blanc, Mel Brooks. I think one of the Mels. I forget what his name was, but yeah, like, just doing all these wacky voices. I'm gonna do all these cartoon characters, and I'm gonna be rich and famous. And I was like, I wanted to voice anime. That was kind of my thing that I was trying to get into, but kind of didn't work out for me. I just didn't. I don't know. It just wasn't for me, I guess. I can always try to do it in the future, but yeah, just try to ask people for help. I feel like most artists aren't going to be afraid of helping you, but on the flip side of that, there are some artists who are afraid of sharing knowledge and just keeping it to themselves because they think that's what's going to give them the competitive edge. But I don't really think that's necessarily the right way to go about it, because if you give knowledge to people and you help people, I feel like what goes around comes around. So you're gonna get someone who's gonna be willing to help you, like, in return, or maybe even the artist that you've helped, when they're coming up, starts popping off, and they can help you out as a favor. But like a big thing, like I feel like a super big thing is that like you just have to understand the ins and out of music business. Like I read a lot of books, but the one I'm reading right now is called Real Artists Don't Starve. I don't know if you can see that. Real Artists Don't Starve. It's by, I believe his name is Jeff Goins. It's Goins and like Nancy S. But he does case studies about different artists, about like how they're actually not poor. So like Michelangelo actually wasn't poor at all. He was worth like millions of dollars. But that's not something you normally hear about, because like the overwhelming consensus of like people talk about Michelangelo is that he was extremely poor, but he was actually really rich. But the big thing is like diversifying your portfolio in terms of being a creative is just like, if the more you understand about the music industry, the more you can sell different services to people. It's like if you can market really well as an artist, and you can prove that you can market really well just based on your track record as a musician and like the kind of numbers you're pulling, you can start charging people to market for them. Or if you do your own cover artwork as a musician, they look pretty legit. Just like pop it up on Fiverr for like $5 to start with, and just start from there and start selling your services that way. But yeah. But with like beats, if you can make beats and they sound really nice, and like you're getting a lot of engagement on your songs with your vocals and beats on there, then it could be a possibility that you could sell beats while being an artist at the same time. I just don't have that talent right now. I just buy beats. That's my thing. But yeah. And then my thing is kind of more audio engineering, so I'm definitely not a professional, but I understand a little bit because I had some experience of interning at a studio for a lot of hours. So I kind of understand the different like units of audio engineering. But if you want to get started in that realm, I would definitely recommend like understanding, especially if you're a rapper, I would definitely try to understand exactly what a vocal chain is. So just like look up on YouTube like vocal chains and like what exactly the different components are. Like you would put on like a gate or a de-esser just to clean up the vocals. Or even learning how to do basic vocal editing, like taking out breaths or just getting rid of the front end or tail end or the gaps in between vocals to make sure you don't have background noise. And it really depends on where you're recording too. So like don't go out and buy a super expensive microphone if you're in a really noisy area. Like for me, I use the Aston, I forget what it was called. It's like that, like a Aston microphone filter. It's like this purple thingy right here. It's like this big thing. You can see that. That's what I use. But I also have the Prime Acoustic London 12. I can show you guys here. And the they call them the Cloud, like the Nimbus. The Nimbus. Whoops, I can't get my stand here. Lols. The Nimbus. It's the Nimbus like cloud ceiling panels. So it helps with my acoustics when I'm mixing and mastering my own tracks. But the way I've been doing is I just came up with a vocal chain. I recommend the one from Sage Audio. So if you look up Sage Audio, the YouTube channel, and then vocal chain, it will be there. But I recommend his vocal chain and his mastering chain. But for me, I've been trying to purchase more of the hardware gear, because the only issue I have with plugins is once you buy them, like you can't really resell the plugins, at least not to my knowledge. So I would rather purchase like some pieces of hardware gear and then be able to resell them further down the line in case I ever need to sell something and upgrade to something else. Because you really can't like resell or upgrade a plug-in to my knowledge, so I wouldn't really go that route. But on certain things, I can definitely see purchasing a plug-in for, like a Fab Filter Pro Q3, the EQ. I would probably definitely buy that. But I have a entry-level hardware compressor, the ART PRO VLA2. And I just recently got an Altron EQ with a preamp. It's supposed to be a recreation of the Neve 1073, and both of those units are about in the $200 to $300 range, so it's nothing crazy. But I think a big thing is, like, I got this idea from Russ. Like, he says, like, if you're gonna be like a professional weightlifter and you don't have a gym with weights in your own house, you definitely need to, like, especially if you're gonna be like a rapper, you gotta have equipment in your own house. Because it doesn't make sense to just keep, like, going out to a studio and paying them all this money to record yourself. Like, you can, like, at the bare minimum, you need to at least be able to record yourself and send files out to a studio to audio engineer for you, if you can't do that. But you definitely need to be able to record just to practice your flows and see how you ride on different beats. I would definitely recommend you need to have, like, at least something resembling of a home studio. Otherwise, you're just dishing out money to studios and you're not keeping any money that you need for other aspects of the music, like paying for your distribution, paying for your artwork if you need to pay for that, paying for marketing, paying for a music video possibly. But I wouldn't recommend paying for a music video if you're just starting out as an artist, because there's not really that great of a return of investment when you're investing in a music video. Like, when you're starting out, I would just recommend just putting out as much music as possible and promoting the songs you already have released. And in terms of music distributors, I recommend TuneCore because they were the first ones to do it in terms of music distribution, so I trust them the most. But in terms of music distribution, just go with what you think works well for you. I like to look at Ari's Take. Ari's Take has a, if you look up Ari's Take music distribution on Google, he has like a whole chart comparing the different music distributors without being biased. So it literally just states the facts going down. It tells you everything, then you can make an educated decision based on that. I would be extremely careful though of, like, the other YouTubers recommending a specific music distributor, because most of the time they're just trying to get you to sign up for the affiliate link. So I would go in and make your own decisions first based on the knowledge that you can get from, like, various resources out there. So yeah, dial in today's music take. Let me know if you want to know any other information about me or what I should discuss about in the next video. But this is the first episode, number 1, of Music Take. I'm thinking I'm going to do these about once a week, just so I can just talk about stuff. I'm doing these mostly for me, but if you get knowledge out of these, that's cool too. But yeah, this is the first episode of Music Take.